Hey guys, Mark here. Welcome back to the channel. Super excited. Finally was able to collaborate time with Bret Hamilton, his schedule, my schedule, and put this interview together that we've been talking about for quite some time. So, Bret's just a great guy. You're going to enjoy this. He's just a good dude. He's a smart guy, probably one of the smartest guys I know. Very knowledgeable. He's a straight shooter. He really tells it like it is. And he's been around the scene a long time. So we're going to go over a bunch of stuff from the beginning, you know, his early start in pro stock, right up to his win, you know, switch to OMC Power, team up with Dave Bush, and his win in Jasper, Tennessee this year. So super cool. You're going to want to watch it right to the end. I know you're going to enjoy it. I can't guarantee you the best quality because I've never done anything like this before, but I can guarantee you the best. The quality of the content is going to be great. So anyways, guys, follow along, enjoy. Thanks for taking the time to do this. I know you got lots on your plate right now, and with things going on, I don't know how much you want to really touch on what's going on there at home, but I guess you guys had some damage to your home, I understand, right? From was it hurricane?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. It started back in August 25th. We got hit by a pretty substantial hurricane. It was a Category 4 out of a possible 5 when it made landfall. It wasn't like physical size. It wasn't real large, but it was very powerful, and it tore up our hometown and surrounding area pretty bad. There's a lot of people still recovering from it, and we are too. But we're getting close to finishing our house, so it's all good.
Yeah,
it's just part of life.
Yeah, for sure. And then I know we talked about doing this, and then you were staying at your folks' place there while your house is being renovated, and then you ended up with a damn flood there too, eh? Man.
Yeah. We literally the day before we were going to do this the first time, hot water line broke, leading to a vanity and a spare bathroom, and put 3/4 of an inch of water across the whole house. So it was. We stayed in a hotel for a week, had to dry the house out, get it all dehumidified, which is not the easiest thing in the world when you live 30 miles from the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, and, no doubt.
But we got it done and back here and back working on the house, so it's all good.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I know that's a big undertaking, when you've got a family and stuff. So, but anyways, so first of all, I guess the first thing I'm going to touch on is, I'm gonna touch about the last race that you were at, and then I'm gonna kind of backtrack. So, long story short, you teamed up with Dave Bush. You guys went to some OMC Power. You showed up at Jasper basically with a power head in the back of the truck, from what I understand, and had quite a showing down there with a big win on Sunday, and probably rattled some chains, I'm sure. And that's awesome. We're gonna get back to that, but I want to touch back in the early days. So. How did you get involved in outboard drag racing to begin with? I understand through your father, probably.
Yeah, and actually it's kind of ironic. I have a rambunctious 2-year-old at home, and this is the time of day where he's kind of bouncing off the walls. It's his normal routine. It's okay, though. I like it. I could dig it.
Yeah.
I would rather him do that than be a bump on a log.
Absolutely.
But so because of that, I was sitting there earlier thinking, how am I going to do this interview? Where am I going to do it in the house where he's not just going crazy and this, that, and the other? And that led me to in the shop with the door locked.
Yeah.
And I'm actually sitting in the boat.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. Yeah.
I noticed it in the back though, but.
Yeah. And so, but it's kind of funny we start this with that because this is the boat that my dad actually started racing in. And he started racing, I think his first race was 96, 97-ish, somewhere around there. But he bought his first Dallas and Bass boat in 1989.
Awesome.
And I've been hooked ever since that point.
Yeah.
Sure. So it's really kind of cool, man. When as I've got to know you and you show me some of the things that Zach has done. And I see people on the internet now, post pictures and things of, young kids drawing race boats and crayons and in school projects. And my mom actually still has all that stuff from when I was a kid. So I kind of it trips me out, and I think it's the coolest thing in the world. But yeah, I mean, I've been around it for basically my whole life.
That's super cool. And you know, it's funny with my with both my kids, they're a little bit older than yours, of course, and we didn't influence them into that. Like, I mean, they were around that at a young age, of course, all the time. We were racing a lot back in those days and every weekend. And then when they started into their own sort of sports and activities, we almost kind of, not purposely, but we kind of like, we wanted them to try all kinds of different things because we wanted to find what they wanted to do, right? So, I mean, there was dance and karate for Grace, and you know, Zach raced BMX and snowmobiles and did all this kind of things. And we kind of actually pushed them heavily that way. And then anyways, and the later years, it's funny to see them both kind of, like Grace now has been drag racing, and which is awesome. And she's hooked. She loves it. And Zach, obviously boats are new to us, but I'm sure that like, if you were to ask him, that's where his passion lies. And so it's kind of cool to see it come full circle, you know, and you'll see that with your kids too, as they grow, and it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I hope so. And that's, you know, my dad did basically the same thing. Yeah. He never forced any of this on me, you know. For sure. And I'll tell anybody, man, you know, when he was racing, when he started racing, I was coming into high school, so my freshman year. And you know, those are a lot of father-son relationships, I guess, are pretty strained in those years, or can be. And I honestly, boat racing for me and him brought us really close together.
Yeah.
We would spend, you know, my dad worked shift work, so he would work nights and days and a crazy schedule like I do now. And we would spend hours on the phone talking to each other about what we were going to test.
Yeah.
About,
cool.
You know, things, you know, and this is back in the day. It's funny. I was looking through some stuff the other day when we were moving, and I found a stack of note cards that I was using a stopwatch on some VHS videos, timing other boats, you know. And this was back, you know, before data, and we still have all of our old notebooks that we took, you know, testing this boat and various other things, and I don't know, it's just really kind of cool.
That's cool. I remember, I'm going to touch on a story that I got to add in here too. I mean, when I first met you, and you know, I started building my pro stock combo, and I would reach out to you for help and blow your phone all to smithereens and that sort of thing. And I appreciate that, because I mean, I got a ways to go, but I know I wouldn't be where I was without you. But I remember one of the early conversations where you told me about your first race in pro stock, and maybe I'll let you tell that story about it didn't quite go as planned, right?
Oh no.
And what your dad said to you about it actually is where I was going with that. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. So my very first race in pro stock, we was actually a race in Gulfport, Mississippi. I don't remember the year now. It's been 11, 12 years ago now, maybe. Anyway, which I came from an Allison bass boat. That was the first boat that I bought. That was, you know, my own boat, and I played around doing the top end thing, and you know, and then I was like getting drawn back into the drag racing thing, and my dad hadn't raced in years, but you know, he still knew all the people. So I sold the boat and went and bought basically a turnkey pro stock boat, and I got it, and it was a red and black 2001 year model Allison, and you know, it was a competitive boat when I bought it, and man, I was young and cocky, and man, I was about to show those guys, you know, what a fast boat really looked like.
Yeah.
And you know, show them how it was done, and so I went out there and you know, went through the whole pre-process, make my first pass, and I actually won the first pass, and I was like, you know, and I was feeling great about myself, and I was, you know, head getting pretty pumped up, and the next pass I actually raced Sean Jetton, and Sean outran me like my motor died, and I thought something broke. He outran me so bad, and I was like, uh-oh, you know, well, okay. And then the very next pass, I raced Randy Jobert. And Randy probably outran me worse than Sean did.
Yeah.
You know, so there I go. You know, and it was a very big class back then. It still is a big class, but we had over 20 boats in that class that weekend. And you know, and there I went 3 into the trailer, and with my tail tucked between my legs and ego busted and everything else, and go through it. The next day was basically the exact same results. Just got my teeth kicked in, and I was on the long ride home because at that point I lived up in North Texas, and it was about a 10-hour drive back home from Gulfport. And my dad called me because he had to work that weekend. They couldn't come. And he asked me how it went, and I basically told him. I was like, man, I said, for everything supposed to be an equal, these guys outran me, by bus lengths.
Yeah.
And I was just back. I was pretty down. And he was like, well, he said, the way I look at it is you got two choices: is you can either quit or you can go to work. And he said, I know you well enough to know you don't have quit in you. And he was right. And I went to work, and 3 years later, and a lot of hard work and a whole lot of help from a whole lot of people, I finally was able to win my first race. So it was, man, that was a lot of work, a lot of passes, a lot of trial and error. And like I said, and a lot of help from a lot of other people. And that's why I try to be open. I try to answer my phone, and especially to guys that who are willing to put in the effort, because, I would be lying if I sit here and was, me.
Oh,
no, that's,
for sure. Yeah. And I picked that off in you right off the hop. And the ironic thing is, when your name came up, when I first, I went to Jasper in 2019 with the Keelings and to sort of check things out. And that was, Greg said, oh, you got to meet Bret. And, because he knew I had some interest in pro stock. And the one thing that came up anytime your name ever came up is everybody always says he's just a straight shooter, and I noticed that when you and I would have discussions about my combo, right off the hop, you made it perfectly. You said, I don't know anything about I don't know anything about STVs. I can't help you there, but I can help you with the motor program. But I appreciated that, because you know what? You could have led me down some tree, you know what I mean? And I'd be chasing problems. But, but you were always straight up that way. And the other thing that I wanted to add too is I can see, the difference in you provided me information in the beginning to get me rolling, and I could tell the harder I worked, you provided more information, which I thought was super cool, because you could see that, this is what I want to do and that I'm passionate about it, right? And I appreciate that stuff. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. And man, it's a couple different guys that had a lot of influence on me through racing, and helped me just with untold knowledge through the years. Galen Burden and Daryl Pettiford. Yeah. Both of those guys have been around and done it. And they kind of showed me that in the way that they would help me, the harder I worked, the harder they worked.
Sure.
And the more I learned, the more intuitive my questions got, the more intuitive our discussions got.
Yeah.
And, and looking back at that now, it was invaluable, the
absolutely.
information,
yeah.
And it wasn't anything ground, like just, oh, here's the secret, just, here's something to work at.
Made sure you were on the right track, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And making sure I was spending my time and my money in the right places.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's a big thing, because we're all doing this on a budget. If we weren't, we'd all be racing Top Fuel and HRA or something like that.
For sure.
Or I'd have a 315 radio car. That's really my dream car.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, eh?
Oh, man, I love radio racing.
Yeah.
But, we're all on a budget, and we all have to stretch it as far as we can. And I feel like it's an injustice when you kind of see people getting, which we really don't have that I've ever seen.
No.
People,